So the next thing that we're going to talk about is the four-stroke cycle. This is the sequence of events that takes place during combustion and the burning of fuel and the spinning of all the parts. This is the actual step-by-step way that the motor draws air in, burns it, and turns it into mechanical motion. Full cycle, if we just go ahead and take a look at it all together, is made up of the intake, compression, power, and exhaust phases. You can see this from left to right. I've got some images here, but we won't stay here for too long. Let's get into each one individually. It's just worth looking at. The four-stroke is made up of these four distinct phases. The intake phase is the one that we're going to treat as the first phase. So the piston, this component here inside of the cylinder, is going to move downward. As it does, the intake valve, the one shown here, is going to open and allow our fuel and air mixture to dump into the cylinder. So imagine like a syringe being pulled back so that it can pull a fluid into it. That's exactly what's happening here. We have a fuel air mixture being pulled down into the cylinder through the valve by the piston being drawn down by the crankshaft. The next step is compression. So the piston reverses direction. It's pulled around the crankshaft and pushed back up. The piston moves up, and that area that it filled up with fuel and air mixture is now compressed down to a very small space. You'll notice that both of the valves are closed right now. So both valves being closed means that there's nowhere for this mixture to go except to get squeezed by the piston down into this small area. When it's in that small area and it's compressed, with the valves still closed, our spark plug, this component here, emits a short, tiny spark that ignites that compressed fuel air mixture. You can see it sort of igniting right here. And I like to describe an engine as being like the capturing of little tiny explosions. They're not really explosions. They do expand rapidly, but it is combustion. It is a burning of the fuel. There isn't a detonation. Detonation is in fact a bad thing that can happen in your motor. That's not what we're looking for. This is a combustion. So think of it more of like a whoosh as opposed to a boom. Okay, our spark plug emits a spark, it ignites that fuel air mixture, and as it expands, it presses that piston back down into the bottom portion of the motor, down into the cylinder, and that energy, that pressing force, is transmitted through the connecting rod and back into the crankshaft. After that fuel air mixture is burnt, we have a cylinder filled with spent gases. They need to get out of there. So what winds up happening is the exhaust valve, the valve that's on the right up here, opens, and the piston pushes back upwards, and just like a syringe, takes all of that gunk that's inside of the cylinder and presses it out the exhaust. All together, what this looks like is this. I think this is a great little animation to show you that's the power stroke right there. But we have the intake, compression, ignition, power stroke, exhaust, and the gases come out. These labels on the right show us top dead center, TDC, and bottom dead center, BDC, which together define the stroke or the distance that the piston moves in the cylinder. I could watch this animation all day. And one of the resources I've included is a video on YouTube by a guy named Tro Designs. I would highly recommend checking that out. He actually machined a block with the cylinder out of acrylic, so it's see-through, and then he filmed it with a super high-speed camera. It's a single-cylinder motor that you might find on like a scooter, but it's a wonderful way to watch this process happen in super slow motion in real life. Pretty cool little process. Up next, we're going to go ahead and discuss engine classification, make it a little bit easier to talk about individual engines, and give us kind of a vocabulary to work with as we go forward. Thanks for listening.